Welcome back to Magic Titans. It's me, Bridger. We're back, and I am super excited to teach you guys some of the basics of Magic today. We know that a significant portion of our audience is 40K players who might not have ever played Magic before, but could be interested in learning. So we thought we'd do a stream to teach you the basics of Magic, get you into it, and then maybe you'll understand a little more. We're playing our Commander games, and over time, you learn a lot just by watching and playing Magic. But today, what we're going to do is we're going to do what I think is the best way to learn Magic in the beginning is the Magic Arena tutorial. So Magic Arena is the digital client made by Wizards of the Coast. It's a great client. It's got a cutoff of like 5-ish years ago until now. There was an older client before that, but I'm a firm believer in Magic Arena, and I think the tutorial is pretty great for learning Magic. So let's get right into it. All right, so this is what the homepage of the Arena client looks like. There's like some ads, some different game types. You have daily quests that you can reroll if you're not happy with them. There's of course a battle pass, but it's largely free. So if I click on that, there's like a free track and a paid track. But let's get to the tutorial. Let's not mess around too much in Arena. I believe on fresh accounts, it just loads you straight into Arena, or if you're not on a fresh account, or if you missed the tutorial somehow, you can click Learn More in the top right. You'll be greeted by Sparky, the mascot, I guess, of Magic Arena, and then there's this Replay tutorial button, which takes you right into a game of Magic. What's up, Sparky?
Let's get started.
All right. So it takes you right into a game. This is what games of Magic Arena look like. You have your two players. Each player has their own hand. Sparky wants us to fight an elf. So I'm this mystery hooded person, and they're, I believe, an unnamed elf. Okay, so in Magic, there's largely two types of cards. You have lands, which generate mana. You can only play one land per turn. And there's non-land, so spells. So this spell's a creature. Spells have costs. So you can see up there, he's got two little white pips. That's how much mana it's going to cost to cast him. So I'll play a land for the turn. And then Sparky's going to tell me I can't do anything. So I'm done. I'm just going to pass the turn. There's a bunch of phases and steps to a turn in Magic, but there's a lot of rules in Magic, and I think you should really learn from the ground up, just the basics. And Arena does a really good job of pacing the speed at which you're learning these things. So cool. I have a new turn. Every turn you draw a card. I'm over the deck. The deck's right here. So I drew a card from the deck. I'm gonna play a land. So you can play a land every turn. And then it's going to show, oh, look, if I tap my two lands, I have white lands. If I tap my two white lands for 2 white mana, I can play my Shrine Keeper. Now I can, oh, it doesn't actually let you manually tap in the tutorial. Normally you can manually tap your lands to get mana, but we're just going to cast him. So this is 2 mana for a 2/2 creature with no other rules. There's no rules text over there. He's an empty rules box. So creatures have power and toughness. That's what it's trying to tell you. Power is like how much damage they deal when they fight, and toughness is how much damage they can take before they die. They also have summoning sickness when you play them. So if I play another Shrine Keeper, you see he's got this gray swirly thing, and his tooltip says summoning sick up there. It means he can't attack that turn, but the one that I played last turn can attack. So I can choose my attackers. Cool. I chose my one. I'm going to send him in. Power's how much damage he deals. They have 8 life right now. He's going to deal 2 damage, bringing them down to 6 because they can't block. They have no creatures. And when you attack, you tap. There's a bunch of different ways to tap creatures in the game. It's usually paying a cost to do a thing. So I want to attack. I have to tap my creature, turn him sideways to be able to attack.
Mouse over cards to inspect their details.
Now they've played also a 2-mana 2/2. Vanilla, meaning doesn't have any special rules on it. And they pass it back to me because they can't attack. They're summoning sick. Well, now I have a pair of 2/2s, and I drew a big fancy 3/2. I'm actually not going to play the 3/2. You can see now that there are different steps or phases to the game. There's the beginning step, which is untap, upkeep, draw. So my Shrine Keeper was tapped from attacking. I untapped him. That was the first part of the turn. I had an upkeep, which is like start of your turn step. Just anything that would happen in your upkeep happens in the upkeep. And then I drew. Then it took me to my first main phase. Every turn has 2 main phases, before and after combat. You can also see the phases in the bottom right. Often you want to play creatures or play your spells in the second main. You want to attack first. So I'm going to go to combat. I'm going to attack with my pair of 2/2s. Sending them both in. After I declare my attacks, they declare their blocks. So they choose who blocks what. Now we deal power, our power to each other's toughness. We're both 2/2s, so we're both going to die. And I have the Shrine Keeper left, and now I'll play my Loxodon Linebreaker, who doesn't have rules, but he does have flavor text. Loxodons are firm in stature and spirit. No matter the odds, they're always first in battle. 4/4. Rumbling Baloth, quite large. And I just drew a land. I don't want to attack, like Sparky's saying. If I attack, I'll just lose a creature. So I'm going to pass.
You've shown spirit, but I will show you strength.
And, a sorcery. So not all spells are creatures. Some spells are non-creature spells. So Feral Roar is a sorcery. You can only play it in your main phase. And it's going to give a creature +4/+4. So they're making their Baloth, like, really huge. All swole up and massive. Only until end of turn. Now, if I don't block, I'm just going to die. So I'm going to take my less valuable creature, my 2/2, for block. The Giant Baloth deals 8 damage to my 2/2. My 2/2 deals 2 damage to their Giant Baloth. But that's it. So 2 damage was marked on their Baloth. At the end of every turn, all the damage goes away. This isn't Hearthstone. And then it's my turn. So I untapped and I drew. And I also drew a sorcery to destroy target tapped creature. So I can cast this and blow up their big Baloth. Boom. Now I get to swing in with my Elephant Man. Those in chat, there's a poll up. If you guys want to choose which color challenge we're going to do when we're done with the tutorial. Unfortunately, I only get 4 options in a poll. So I had to put red and green in one option. And of course, that is now going to win the poll. But we'll figure that out later. Cool, so they played a couple of 2/2s. And I drew Blinding Radiance. Tap all creatures your opponents control with toughness 2 or less. How convenient. I will tap your creatures. You can't block when you're tapped. Creatures can't really do much when they're tapped. And I'll swing in with my Elephant and win the first portion of the arena tutorial. So that was sort of teaching you attacking, blocking, what do creatures do, and then very briefly sorceries. Now, as you progress through the tutorial and through the color challenges, they take these pre-constructed decks that are educational and to teach you how the game works, and they start adding more cards. So you get to play with more interesting cards as you go and learn in a tutorialized fashion. Isn't that wild? Alright, so now we're fighting some kind of goblin-y guy. He's playing red. The different colors in Magic have color identities. There's a color pie of, like, these gameplay mechanics are largely found in these colors. And that's a big part of Magic. That's a lot of the fun of Magic is the color identity, and when you mix colors, how you get different results. They're having me play white, which is largely about life gain, order, angels, some flying, vigilance. A lot of the things I just said were keywords, which they're trying to teach us in this first, or in this second game here. Haste, is a keyword that these goblins have, and you can see up there in the tooltip, tells you what haste does. Means you don't have summoning sickness when you cast a haste creature. They can just do their stuff immediately. You can tap them for their tap abilities. You can attack. But haste usually, I don't want to say comes at a cost, but a lot of keywords mean you're paying in some way to get that keyword, right? This 3 mana 3/3 could be a 3 mana 2/3 with haste in card design. Cooler telling us damage falls off the end of the turn, so when I blocked their 1/1 with my 2/2, it cost me nothing. They just lost a 1/1. Oh, a cat. I'll play my 1/2 cat. This is a 1 mana 1/2. Look at how it's so big. It's overstated. There's kind of a vanilla test in Magic of however much mana a creature costs. That's roughly how much stats you want to get out of it. If it's vanilla, that's like the vanilla test. But like I said, keywords can alter that calculus on what you think it's worth. Okay, now when you block, this is very important. So they've attacked me with all their creatures. When you block, you can assign multiple creatures to block an attacker. So this cat is a 1/2. That means it's just going to eat a goblin. And I'm going to take both of my Shrine Keepers and put it in front of a goblin that's 3/3 Goblin Bruiser. When there are multiple blockers, the attacking player orders the blockers and then deals damage until it's lethal in sequence through those ordered blockers. So one of my Shrine Keepers took 2 damage, and the next one took 1 damage. And I'm left with a Shrine Keeper. So at the end of the day, I traded a 2/2 for a 3/3, and that was a bad attack for Sparky. But Sparky doesn't play Magic very well, so that's okay.
There's an army of expendable minions when you need one.
So in addition to colors having identities, certain creature types, so you can see my Shrine Keeper is a human cleric, my Sanctuary Cat is a cat, Goblin Gang Leader is a goblin warrior. Certain creature types have themes as well. So goblins are often about going wide, having a bunch of tiny creatures that you can then just fling at your opponent. Hopefully they don't have enough blockers. You might be sacrificing your creatures on the way in, but you're going to be dealing damage, and then hopefully you can go over the top and kill them before they can do anything. So goblins are like a very aggressive strategy, trying to kill your opponent quickly. That was a terrible attack unless they have some trick. They're just going to lose all of their creatures. So we'll see what Sparky has here. An Ogre Painbringer.
Going to hurt.
So this has an enter the battlefield effect. These are very common in Magic. When you cast that creature and it lands on the battlefield, it does a thing. So when Ogre Painbringer enters the battlefield, it deals 3 damage to each player. That was both of us. And it is a 5 mana 7/3. Quite large. But I do have a 3/4, in fact a pair of 3/4s to block it with. And each of them also had an enter the battlefield effect. It gave me 4 life. There are multiple ways to enter the battlefield, but the most common one obviously is just cast your creature. And it shows up on the battlefield.
A good general knows when they're beat, so you should probably give up now.
Oh, I think Goblin Sparky is losing.
It's the pokey bits that hurt the most.
All right, so we played against green, we played against red. They're giving us some more cards here. They're giving us enchantment auras. Those are going to come up in this game. Hopefully, we can talk about another card type,
So let's try a more challenging lesson.
and we'll just keep going. Blast through this tutorial. These are just the basics of Magic. The game has a lot of depth and a lot of design space. They sort of kept themselves open. One of the things that's kept Magic alive for 30 years is there's so many different things they can design around and new concepts to play with for decades. It's pretty wild. Playing against blue now. One of the sub-themes of blue is flying creatures. Flying creatures can only be blocked by other creatures with flying. So I'm going to play this cat. It's a 1/2. I would love to be able to block their 1/1 Zephyr Gull,
Is connected.
but I can't.
You must understand.
They're also going to play an Aura here. Auras target a creature when you cast them. So he targeted the Zephyr Gull, and then they attach onto that creature and do a thing. So this Aura says this creature gets +1/+1 forever. So it has 1 more power and toughness. And I can't block it because it's flying. So I'm just going to taking the damage. Now I have drawn an Aura of my own. Knight's Pledge gives +2/+2. So we're going to make a knightly cat. And now we're ruining the race. I'm dealing 3 damage a turn, and they're dealing 2 damage a turn. Well, they got a crab.
Obstacles may block your path, but do not lose sight of your true goal.
Another common, I guess, sub-theme. It's not a keyword or anything, but blue ends up having, I would say, the most 0x creatures in the game, where they're clearly just stalling. They're creatures that are meant to stall. So I'll attack just to show you. They'll block with their 0/4. 3 damage gets marked. Turn changes. Nothing happened. Blue ends up with a lot of these. Blue is a slower... So red was fast. Red's aggressive. It's trying to win the game quickly. Blue is a slower, more controlling color, generally. They'll play the tempo game with flyers. They'll tap your creatures and say that they can't untap, like this Water Knot. It's another very common blue mechanic. But I still have a giant cat, so we're just going to make the cat bigger with another Knight's Pledge and keep swinging in. Cats. They've been printing a lot more cats and dogs in recent years, which I approve of. You should check out Wednesday stream. I have a very cute dog in my deck on the Wednesday stream. You're not going to want to miss it. I can now announce embargo's lifted. It is the Brothers War. We're going to be doing Sealed. We're doing essentially like a little pre-release of our own. We're playing Sealed with some Brothers War cards that we got in a box. There should be a video coming out soon with that, probably short, with that box opening content. There was some cool stuff in the box. And then Wednesday, our normal time, we're going to be doing Sealed with the new set, Brothers War. Don't miss it. Alright, they played a huge dinosaur. 5 mana, 4/6. Well, I can't profitably attack into that. I have a 5/6 and a 3/4, neither of which can get past it. But I drew Angelic Reward, which is an expensive enchantment that gives +3/+3 and flying. I'm actually going to put this on the Spirit so that I can keep this cat back. And if the cat blocks the dinosaur, neither of them dies. Like so. And I just take a little less damage.
Is a river. The teacher is an ocean. The master is also an ocean.
Great. Thanks for that, Merfolk man. So goblins are a common creature type within red. Merfolk are sort of the representative creature type of blue. I believe angel is the representative creature type of white. Also humans, very common in white. Well, we beat Merfolk man, and we got some instants. So this is a new type of spell. Sorceries, like I said, can only be cast on your turn. Also when the stack, in the main phase, when the stack is empty. So whenever you see stuff pop up on the right side of the screen, that's the stack. I'm going to try to explain the stack a little bit more than Sparky or Magic Arena will, because it Arena handles the stack for you online, but in Paper Magic, you, the player, have to manage the stack. And the stack is just all of the spells and abilities that have been cast or activated but not resolved. So in Arena, you can turn on full control mode. As soon as my turn, I'll show you. So I'm going to turn on full control mode. Oh, you can't do it in the tutorial. I should have tested this. Look, when we get to the color challenge, you just wait. I'll turn on full control. But you can stop in Arena, you can turn on full control and it'll stop automatically doing stuff for you. So when I cast the cat, it would have waited with the cat on the stack in case I wanted to do something else. but the tutorial thinks I'm not ready for full control. It's too powerful.
This is my favorite part.
Alright, so they cast an instant. Instants can be cast at any time. Literally any time you can cast an instant, as long as you can pay the cost. So this is Cruel Cut, an instant. Destroy target creature with power 2 or less. Thank you, Sparky. Anytime. So they're killing my cat. Cat's dead. Doesn't deal the 1 damage
Get under your skin.
to Dragon Hand Shadow. Creature destruction is a very common mechanic within Black. That's like their part of the color pie is just that thing's dead now. Black is like death and destruction. Flash is like instant, but for things that aren't necessarily non-creature spells. Or Flash makes other things into instants. It's not only on creatures. You can have Flash enchantments. You can have Flash artifacts. But Flash just makes things cast at instant speed. Which it says right there. So they killed one of my Shrine Keepers. I'll just make this guy big and hope they don't kill him too. Flashed in a guy, but it's just a chump block. And then they're going to sacrifice him with an instant to draw cards. So this is what we call a chump block, when you expect to just die. You know that you're not going to get anything done by blocking. But then they sacrificed that creature to draw 2 cards. Sacrifice is another common mechanic within Black. Sacrifice is take one of your things, put it in the graveyard. It's dead now. And then it's usually as a cost to get some benefit. A 5-mana 5/5 that can't block.
Can't afford to take another hit like that.
And it deals 1 damage to me for each swamp they control. So I just took 5 damage from its enter the battlefield effect. Sparky's telling me that if I attack, I lose the game.
Block first. Then it's
So I won't attack. And I will instead block and cast Tactical Advantage. Target blocking or blocked creature you control gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Oh, there we go. So now here, Arena always knows when you can do things, and it'll wait. And it'll be like, hey, do you want to do something right now? Because you can do something. So we're in combat, which has several steps. You declare your attackers, you declare your blockers, and then damage is dealt. Damage is actually dealt in 2 pieces, but we'll get to that very soon. Cool, so we're in declare blockers. I declared a blocker. We have not gone to damage yet. I will cast an instant, making my Shrine Keeper massive, eating their Rakshasa, and then goes to damage. He dies. Oh, they're being tricksy again, so they're gonna block with 2 Nimble Pilfers.
get ready.
So we go to declare blockers. They declare their blockers. Before damage, I will make my man large. And I will kill both Nimble Pilfers. It did not let me order blockers there because Arena...
I've got nothing, really. I'm at your mercy.
Ooh, I guess it's just the tutorial doesn't let you order blockers. Sometimes there's settings to automatically do all kinds of things. But that was not...
Let your guard down.
It just didn't let me order blockers. I guess they're the same attacker, so... Okay, so this is the other way that you use Flash. On the end step of your opponent, you can flash in creatures, and then they don't have summoning sickness, because they've been around for a turn. So you could, like, surprise attack them. Flash is a mechanic not really tied to any of the colors. I cast Confront the Assault. You can cast it only when you're being attacked. And you make 3 little 1/1 white spirit tokens with flying. Creature tokens... The Arena tutorial doesn't really talk about this, but creature tokens are not cards. Tokens come up a lot in Magic. If they are returned to your hand, they just go away because they're not real cards. You can't hold a token in your hand, but they act like creatures on the battlefield. So here we go. I blocked all of his dudes.
Now you've got
I'll make my Shrine Keeper huge. He's an Angelic Knightly Shrine Keeper. And that's black down. Look at that. We're just slamming through these tutorials. Is red and green still winning? It is. Great. I'm going to end the poll and make a new poll between red and green. Red. Alright. So now we get a couple more cards. We get an Angel, Sarah Angel, classic card from all the way back in Alpha, I'm pretty sure. Sarah Angel.
Sure. That was some quick thinking.
Thanks, Sparky.
When we first met, you looked within an inch of your life. But now you're unstoppable.
I am unstoppable. Thank you, Sparky.
Fighting in the first place anyway.
Oh, Nicopolis, the evil big bad of magic. One of many.
After I annihilated you, I really didn't expect to see you again.
Yeah, me neither. I thought you were dead, Bolus.
What? This is a terrible idea.
Alright, so we played against green, red, blue, black. I don't think they give you a mirror match. So now we fight Nicopolis, and I think he has gold cards, which are multicolored. I wonder how scripted this fight is. So now we're starting with a standard 20 life and 7 cards. They've been quietly ramping up the game into like a normal game. So now this is like a normal game of Magic. We each start with 7 cards and 20 life. The player who goes first does not draw a card on their first turn. However, a lot of the content you will see us play is multiplayer Magic, including Commander, where the first player does draw on their first turn. Cool. One nice thing about Magic Arena is you can it's like an actual card game. You can rearrange the cards in your hand. I like to arrange cards in the order of their cost. Okay, so they played a mummy. Makes me discard a card. Discard another common black mechanic. I'm going to discard a plains. I don't think I need 4 lands.
He just throw away a dragon.
You look surprised.
6 mana, 4/4 flying haste. That is a scary big dragon. And he does, in fact, have 2 colors of land, which tells me he's going to have gold cards, 2 colors of spell. Oh, blow. Cool cut.
Everything here exists.
Killed my Shrine Keeper.
perishes at
Now I'm sad. It's alright, I have my big elephant man. And now I have a little bit of regret about discarding a land. In general, you want to be playing a land every turn until you want to get to like 6 or 7 mana. Of course, it depends on the deck. Some aggressive decks don't need as many lands. We're just gonna hang out. I don't want this trade. I think that my 3/2 is worth more to me than their 2/2 is worth to them. Alright, so they're reanimating. This is another black mechanic. They cast Rise from the Grave, which puts a creature from the graveyard onto the battlefield and makes it a zombie in addition to its other types. So this is what we'd call a reanimation effect. It takes a creature out of their graveyard. They're going to take this big dragon, put it straight onto the battlefield. I don't like it. I will block here. Keep my elephant alive. And I'll take 4 damage from the dragon. Gain that 4 life back from a spirit. And swing on in.
Enough of this.
Double cast. He's going to copy some spells. If you watched our most recent Commander game, I was playing Calamax to the max, which is all about copying stuff. So double cast is going to copy Seismic Rupture, which deals 2 damage to each creature without flying. It's going to kill all my creatures.
Whoa.
That's right, Sparky. Whoa. Alright. 6 mana, 1/4. Seems terrible, right? Seems like a bad rate. It is a rare. You can tell by the set symbol. Silver is uncommon. Black is common. Gold is rare. They're also casting a big rare to draw 7 cards. The reason this 6 mana 1/4 is not bad is it draws you a lot of cards. And drawing cards is one of the best things you can do in Magic. The fundamental rules of Magic are you draw 1 card a turn, you play 1 land a turn, and you take 1 turn per turn. Anytime you can break any of those 3 rules, you're doing well. Those are like fundamentally strong things to do, is draw extra cards, play extra lands, and take extra turns. So you can see I can just cast a bunch of spells in a row. I can just chain together things off of this Inspiring Commander. I went from no cards in hand to doing a bunch of things. Powerful. And then I bonk him in the head for 1. Bummer. So they're just casting a bunch of big spells. This is a classic Bolus style deck. Just big splashy effects all over. Big dragons. Alright. Let's try not to die here. And draw a lot of cards. Now you see on the stack there were a bunch of triggered abilities. So this guy does not have an enter the battlefield effect. He has a triggered ability. It says whenever. Just the word that tells you you're looking at a triggered ability. And then there's a trigger, another creature with power 2 or less entering the battlefield under my control. And there's a comma. And then there's the effect of the triggered ability. You gain 1 life and draw a card. Those go on the stack. All abilities and spells go on the stack. Let's just not die. Oh. It was seeing if I wanted to make something bigger. I didn't. Draw more cards, gain more life.
Such impudence.
And I'll play a big angle. Now, I don't plan on blocking. What is going on with the UI here?
Do you really think a mere
Alright, Bola, shut up. I just want to attack.
my power is beyond that of a god?
Okay, so I don't plan on blocking with this Inspiring Commander, so I'm going to attack with him. But I do plan on blocking with this 1/1 Spirit. I plan on chump blocking. So we're just going to send it in. No! And a big crab. And a demon. Okay, so there's a new keyword on the screen. It's Vigilance. Vigilance means you don't tap when you attack. This is a white mechanic, largely. So I'll block here, make my angel bigger so he doesn't die.
Admit defeat.
And keep going. Alright.
We've come this far. Don't give up now.
Now, I could make my... I have a choice. Magic is an interesting game because it presents you with options. And if you make the correct decisions, if you're good at making these decisions, you're good at the game and it feels good. It's a skill game, right? I can cast Angelic Reward on my angel to make it enormous, and it has Vigilance, so it's also a good blocker. Or I could distribute my my power and toughness and cast it on the cat. They are playing black. I believe that they have removal. I believe they have a way to kill my angel, so I don't want to make it exclusively massive. I'm going to make my cat bigger and trade with the demon, or just keep this crab at bay forever. Or I could double block and kill the 6/6. A lot of options here. I have 16 life. I'm just going to kill the crab. Life is a resource in Magic. This is something you'll hear people say often. I'm going to take 11 damage here, but... Oh, I had tactical... You know what? I tactical damage. That was a misplay. But I'm going to take 11 damage, but I have lethal on the attack back. So it's fine to take damage if you have a plan. If you know what you're doing after you take that damage. If you can afford to take that damage and not lose resources on the board, then take the damage. Is it really 50-50 red-green? Alright, I need just one more vote. Anybody in chat, just vote. Just need one more vote. But with that, we beat the tutorial. Tutorial's done. Here we go. It's going to take us back, I believe, to the home screen. Here we go. While we're waiting for somebody to break the tie between red and green, let's talk a little bit about the Arena client. and the economy. I briefly touched on getting these daily quests. They give you gold and experience along the battle pass. You also get 15 daily win rewards. They start out big and then they get smaller as you go. You get 15 weekly rewards for winning games. These I don't think get smaller. I don't remember. Look, I'm level 1 because my account's been essentially inactive for 2 months. And I'm really sorry, guys. Just busy. But I used to be played a lot. I used to be legend every month. So the gold is the free-to-play currency. You can see up here, you get gold for winning games and completing objectives like that. The gems are the paid. These are the cash money dollars. That's the paid currency. The game also has a wild card system. Let's just open some packs so I can show you this wild card system. It's not the dusting mechanic that you might see in other card games. You can just turn wild cards into cards of your choice. So I can make 500 of any common that I want. A bunch of uncommons, mythic rares. This is like the most rares, mythic rare, when I was going through the set symbols. There's also this weird vault thing. The vault is a third layer of duplicate protection. When you fill up the vault in the background, you kind of just ignore it until it's full, and then you get a mythic wild card, 2 rare wild cards, and 3 uncommon wild cards. There's a lot of layers of duplicate protection in Magic. All right, green one. I'm ending the poll. Green one. Okay. Let's open a pack. Just one. We're just going to open one pack. And we're going to get a wild card, right? No? Okay, we're going to open another pack and get a wild card. Here we go. There we go. Okay. So when you open packs, these are like normal Magic packs, except they're smaller. You get less commons because you're not drafting with these packs, and you have plenty of commons already. Don't complain. But there will be 5 commons, 2 uncommons, and a rare in every pack. Any slot can be replaced with a wild card of that slot, which is just better, right? Instead of getting a card, you get a wild card that you could have used to make that card if that was what you wanted. So this is a common wild card. You get an uncommon wild card. You always get 5 commons, 2 uncommons, and a rare. Generally speaking, more rare cards are just more powerful. They just do more for the mana. However, that's not always true. There have been times where decks with largely or mostly uncommons are like competitively viable. Those were weird times. Okay, so now let's do the color challenge. You finished the tutorial. You learned the basics of Magic. It's on to the color challenge, where you can play all 5 colors of Magic. What did I say? Green one. Nope, that's right.
I'm ready to fight.
Would you like to see what's left of
You start with, there's a sequence of battles. You play against all 5 colors, and they give you a deck in that color, and you unlock cards as you go through. Unfortunately, I can't revert my progress, so I have the completed color challenge decks with all of the rewards. Can't go back. Green, we haven't really talked about too much in terms of their mechanics. Trample lets you trample over. You deal any excess combat damage to the target that you were attacking. So you were attacking a player. I attack with an 8/8. They block with a 2/2. There's 6 extra damage that would normally go away, but if you have trample, it goes to their face. 2 to the creature, 6 to their face. And +1/+1 counters are another very common mechanic in green. It's just a little token that you put on a creature, and it's that much bigger forever now. It's just +1/+1 counter, and you can have several of those on a creature. It's just that much bigger now. And then the green form of removal. Green likes big creatures. You fight with your big creatures. The green form of removal is fighting. So my creature's going to deal damage to your creature. And the representative race or creature type for green is elves. We saw Brian play Elf Ball in a Commander game last Wednesday. Elves historically are an amazing creature type. They have a lot of synergy within elves. But let's play green in our first color challenge battle against a white. Looks like a fine hand. In a normal game, you would be given the option to mulligan. So you could take your 7 cards and say, I don't like this hand. I'm going to throw it back. I'm going to draw a new 7. But because I have mulliganed once, if I choose to keep that, I have to put one of those 7 cards on the bottom of my deck. You can, of course, mulligan again, but then you have to put 2 cards on the bottom of your deck, etc. etc. Let's play land and get this game going. Ramping is a term in Magic for whenever you are able to cast spells earlier than you would normally be able to. So often you play 1 land per turn. So you would expect on turn 3 to be able to play a 3 mana spell. And it's like the biggest thing you can do. But green loves to ramp, which is get ahead of that curve. And they have creatures that tap for mana. So this Elysian Caryatid can tap for 1 mana of any color. And if I have a large lad, taps for 2 mana of any color. Now I'm going to manually tap him to show, look, you can manually tap. It's a card game. I can press Z, I can undo. And I'll play a 4 mana creature on turn 3. Look at me, I'm cheating. Powerful. This Baloth Pack Hunter had an ETB, or end of the battlefield ability. Doesn't do anything, but just you wait. Now it's going to do something. It puts 2 1/1 counters on each other Pack Hunter Baloth. So I have a big boy. And look at this. I have at least 1 creature with 4 or more power, so I can tap this Caryatid for 2 mana to play another. Get another Caryatid. Oh boy. Now, when attacking, it's often good to count up the power that they have to block with. They do have 5 power. They could kill my Baloth, but it would cost them everything because they also only have 5 toughness. They're going for it. Cool. That was the order blocker screen. I skipped through it. I shouldn't have. That was my bad. Well, hopefully it'll come up again. You get to choose the ordering of the blockers, and the damage happens in that order. So when you run out of damage, the things at the end of the list survive. Well, that's a big dinosaur. So it's a 7/7 Trampler for 7 mana, and whenever it attacks, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each land you control. So this will currently attack as a 12/12. Hallowed Priest is a creature that gets bigger when you gain life. That's a white mechanic. They like gaining life. Often they'll have creatures that have effects when they gain life. That was a bad chump block. Like I said, Sparky's bad at playing Magic. They sacrificed a creature. They had their creature die to prevent 1 damage. Not worth it. Just take the damage. Alright, well I have lethal. So I'm just going to swing in for lethal. White down. Green's too strong. Green likes making big creatures and just rumbling in. So I got out of that Sentinel Spider and Rampaging Brontodon. Oops. Now when you play the color challenge, if you have a fresh account, you actually get all these cards. They give you these cards. And you can play these decks. Unfortunately, many of these cards are not standard legal, which is the main format that is played on Arena. Standard is essentially all the cards printed in the last year. There is a rotation, so they pick a time in the fall. Rotation just happened. Where, okay, this is where Standard starts for now. We're going to go all the way around till next year. We're going to have a big wipe of a bunch of cards, and we're going to start over with just these sets. Happens every year. Because it's only 1 year of cards, they keep the number of cards smaller card pool, less craziness. The more cards there are in a card pool for a format, the crazier things you can do in the format generally. Got a big spooter. Do I want just another big spooter? So I have 6 mana. I'm going to play a Pack Hunter. That was not the way to tap for that, but it's fine. And I'm going to keep up mana for Stony Strength. Like so. So it gets a 1/1 counter on it. It is now just forever 1 bigger. It survives the combat. And that was a 3 for 1. So I cast 1 spell, Stony Strength, and I got 3 of their cards in return. It's a good rate. Colossal Majesty is an enchantment that's not an aura. We haven't talked about these, because the only enchantments they show you in the tutorial are auras, but ordinary enchantments, I'll cast this next turn, they just sit on the battlefield. They're just there. They just hang out. They're not attached to a creature. When an aura is attached to a creature and that creature dies, the aura's not attached to anything, so it goes away. But an ordinary enchantment can just hang out. And this enchantment makes use of the upkeep. So at the beginning of your upkeep, if you control a creature with power 4 or greater, draw a card. Green card draw is often tied to creatures. Like when you cast creatures, or if you have big creatures, then you're allowed to draw cards. White has the most complicated card draw to explain. It's usually your opponent does a thing. Like if your opponent's winning or ahead, you get to draw a card, but only sometimes, and only in weird ways. White, not really allowed to draw cards. Red doesn't draw cards per se. They exile cards from the top of their deck and are allowed to cast them. Exile is a mechanic not talked about in the tutorial, which is unfortunate. I really think they should talk about it. Exile is like out of the game. You're not in the graveyard, you're gone. Like you just get out of here. So red doesn't draw cards. They exile cards off the top of their deck, and then they're allowed to play those cards for some brief period of time. It's like drawing cards, but it's not technically drawing cards. Okay, cool. We had an upkeep trigger. We drew off of this, and then we went to our draw step and drew a normal card. I'm just gonna win this game. Just keep moving. Blue just draws cards. Like they're the slow. They're controlling the thinking man's color of Magic. They just draw cards. They just get to draw cards. What am I missing? Black. Black is often drawing cards from sacrificing things. So you can sacrifice a creature to draw cards. You can take damage to draw cards. That's how black draws cards. I love Magic. Magic's great. Alright, we've conquered red. We've conquered white. Let's conquer blue. Look, I have an elf. This creature has an activated ability. We haven't seen any of these yet. It has a cost, and then a colon, and then an effect. So you pay the cost, and then you get the effect. This does not require the creature to tap. This activated ability only requires the creature to tap. Let's just keep going. Just playing my elves. That's not an elf, that's a merfolk. I'm a liar. Okay, so I have 4 mana. I can make this a 2/2. Or I could cast these. I'm just going to swing. Now they should block. But I have instants. They're tapped out. That's important. I would not have made this attack if they had mana open. Because then maybe they have a trick. Now, I just cast 2 spells to kill 1 of their creatures. Not great. But there was a lasting effect of my Jungle Delver is 2 bigger now forever. Trade-offs. Trade-offs. Magic's a deep game. There's a lot of choices to be made. I don't want to trade this, my mana dork, for their bird, even if I can make this bigger and trade them. It's not a trade I want. Now, activate this ability. Make him bigger forever. Michael Cody, if you receive no notification on this, it's because you didn't ding the bell on the channel. You gotta ding the bell. It's a bell problem. Thanks everybody for coming out and supporting me. Mostly I just wanted this to be a VOD to live on forever so that 40k players could learn magic. But I appreciate the live audience here. Just hanging out, chatting magic, having a good time on a Sunday afternoon or evening, depending on where in the world you are. Just keep spending mana, keep making my merfolk bigger. Winning the race. Oh, an air elemental. Big 4/4 flyer. Now, this Warden of Evos Isle is actually a very interesting card. It's a 3 mana 2/2, so it doesn't pass the vanilla test. But it's a flyer, and I think a 3 mana 2/2 flyer is a fine rate. But it also has a passive ability, just something that's always happening. Creature spells with flying that you cast cost one less to cast. They have 2 of these. So this air elemental that normally costs 5 mana only costs 3. Oh, what am I doing? It's a cool card. Alright, can't block any of this, so we'll just take a bunch of damage. Oh, Rabid Bite, it's a good draw. So I'll remove their air elemental by dealing damage equal to Rampaging Brontodon's power, which is 7. Kill the air elemental. And we will swing on in for the win. Big plant. Alright. We've beaten white. We've beaten red. We've beaten blue. It's on to black. And then Mystery Ghost Stranger. I can't remember if it's a mirror match or... I don't remember at all. It's been a very long time since I've done the color challenge. Oh, Death Touch. That's a mechanic we haven't talked about. Death Touch means any amount of combat damage to a creature is lethal. 1 damage. Lethal. So this 1/1 Typhoid Rat, if it blocked my giant Rampaging Brontodon, they would both die. It's good. It's good. When you combine Death Touch and Trample, you get something very frightening. Should essentially read unblockable. Now I could trade here. I don't want to. I like my 3/3 because I know I will not be casting creatures for a long time. This is the only creature I have in hand, and it costs a lot of mana. So instead, I will kill it with a Rabid Bite. And swing on in. Oh, a vampire. A 3 mana, 1/1 flyer. Beginning of end step. If an opponent lost life this turn, put a 1/1 counter on the Gorger. Interesting. So it's going to grow every turn that I take damage. I don't like it. I will kill it. Ah, Sengir Vampire. Classic for Innistrad. 5 mana 4/4 flyer. When a creature's dealt damage by Sengir Vampire, put a 1/1 counter on Sengir Vampire. Big dinosaur. Okay, so now I can order blockers. They have 5 toughness of blockers, so the ordering here is not relevant. But if they had a trick, I would want to make sure that the Sengir Vampire dies. I'm putting him first. Whole bunch of triggers go on the stack. Even if a creature dies, if it had a triggered ability as it was dying, that trigger happens. But the trigger did a thing that is no longer relevant. It put counters on a creature that's in the graveyard. Creatures in graveyards can't have counters. With one exception, but don't at me. There's one creature that says it can have counters anywhere. Okay, cool. So Affectionate Indrik is a 6 mana 4/4, so you're paying a lot for not so much. But when it enters the battlefield, it fights something. Get out of here. And I don't want to lose my dinosaur to a typhoid rat. So I'll instead trade my Veil off. I might have had lethal there. I did, yeah. Yeah, I had lethal. That's fine. Classic Gigantosaurus, 5 mana, 10/10 with no other rules text. What makes this card fair? Let's take a moment to look at this card. Gigantosaurus, 5 mana, 10/10. We're doubling the vanilla rate. Why is that fair? All 5 of the mana that it costs to cast it is colored mana. Getting 5 green mana in a multicolored deck, not easy. So you're paying a deck building cost of essentially you want to be mono green. You want to only be green to get Gigantosaurus, which means you're limiting yourself on the color pie of the things that you're allowed to do because green isn't allowed to do everything. Game design. Magic's such a cool game. Why would you kill my Gigantosaurus? You're dead now. Sparky, come on. Sparky's not very good at Magic. Alright, the final game. We're going to fight the Hooded Stranger. Hope you're ready. This is the last game of Magic that we'll be playing on stream today. I'll talk a little bit about Limited, about drafting, or Sealed. And then we're going to close out after this game that for some reason has a wait timer. Am I trying to play a real person? Is that what it's doing? Nope. Okay. I think I might be playing a real person. How did that happen? Well, okay, I guess you know what? Look, we can talk about mulligans. I have 3 lands and 4 spells, and I can cast all 4 of those spells with my 3 lands. So I'm going to keep this. That's fine. What is my pet? Okay, well, I have a pet. It appears to be a goblin with a stick of dynamite. And there you have it. This is how they monetize. They sell you weird cosmetics. I'll make a plant. Plants. I was gonna say plants are cooler than elves, but they're not. Elves are pretty cool. But this plant is cooler than that elf. Wait, am I just... What am I playing against? Hold on. Wait. Wait. I'm playing a color challenge deck, and my opponent appears to be playing a precon of some variety. How did we get here? What is going on? This might be a legitimate challenge. These color challenge decks are not good. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll do what we can. Oh boy. Yep. I could have been more mana efficient by playing a 3 mana and 2 mana spell. Probably should have swung with the cat. I'd be happy to trade with either of those, but that's yep. Okay. Leona War Leader's a 4 mana 4/4 that makes 2 1/1 cats that are also attacking when it attacks. There's so much to explain here. I did not intend to end up in battle with a real human, playing a real human deck. But here we are. I take the 2. I don't think I've ever heard the new Capenna background music. This is quite jazzy. I like it. Maybe we can win. Maybe we'll just go super wide. We'll make a dinosaur. And we'll win. You have no good attacks. What are you going to do? Let's play with our goblin. They don't have a pet. Or card sleeves. So they have a lot of cards with a lot of text. Magic's a game that has a lot of words in it. Not as many words as Yu-Gi-Oh! But it's a game with a lot of words in it. So Gallagreators has this Alliance ability. Alliance, this is actually just a flavor word that joins together a bunch of mechanics with similar abilities. So all of these have some Alliance ability because they're playing an Alliance deck. An Alliance is whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, do a thing. So Gallagreators has 3 things that it can do. You can only do each of them once per turn. Oh boy. This is bad. Yep. Lot going on over there. Their side of the board is active. Okay. Alright. Here we go. Chat. We're gonna do this. Nope. Here. And here. Those are my blocks. It's gonna be a tough one. If I draw the dinosaur, I can't cast it. Oh, I could cast Indrik. Actually, this is not terrible. I can now kill their Death Toucher. The thing that was making their whole board have Death Touch. And I can double block Trelasara. They have 5 cards to my 0, but look, if I just draw a land and then specifically my giant dinosaur. Could do it. Could happen. They have a lot going on. This is the first artifact I guess we could talk about. It happens to be a token, but artifacts are just another type in Magic. So there's creatures, there's enchantments, there's sorceries, there's instants. Artifact is a type of permanent. It goes on the left of the dash. And it's like an enchantment. It just sits there. There are artifact creatures. There are enchantment creatures. The fact that it is an artifact is significant essentially in one way. If it's not a creature, it does not have summoning sickness. And the fact that it is an artifact is relevant to things that say, do something with an artifact, or based on how many artifacts you have, do a thing. These artifacts are treasure tokens, which you can just tap and sacrifice to add mana. They're like one-off manas. These are not the blocks I wanted to make, but we're making them. I have mana dorks. I don't even need a land. I just need my dinosaur. Please give me my dinosaur. Look, there's only 45 cards in my deck. And I think there's 1, maybe 2 giant dinosaurs. And I need them, so please. Okay, so something to talk about with Trelasara. It's a legendary creature. She's got a name, and there can only be one of her at a time on each side of the board. That's what legendary means. If you have a Trellisara Moondancer and you cast another Trellisara Moondancer, so now your side of the board has 2 Trellisara Moondancers, you have to sacrifice one of them. One of them just goes away as a state-based effect. You can't have 2 of the same legendary anything at a time. There are legendary lands, there are legendary enchantments, legendary artifacts. I'm not going to block and I'm going to die, because they're playing a real deck and I'm playing the color challenge. Yeah, there's a lot of mechanics in Magic. A lot of rules to learn, but just the more you play, the more you watch, the more you will learn. Like all card games, it's about knowing the cards that exist. So let's briefly talk about the formats of Magic, and then we're going to head on out of here. It's been a nice little stream. When you click the play button, there's all kinds of different tabs and stuff. Oh, hey Sparky, please go away.
We'll show up here.
So there are different formats that you can play. These are not all of the formats on Arena.
Match tab.
There's best of 1 and best of 3. In best of 3, you play a best of 3, but you also have a sideboard added to your deck that you can sideboard between games. So standard is that thing I was describing where it's the cards that are essentially in the past year. It's a window. So every year we wrap around at the same time. Alchemy is a digital only format. You can only find it on Arena. There's weird alchemy cards that do digital only things, like randomly pulling cards out of your deck of a specific type. You can't do that in paper, because you can't randomly pull a card and know the type of it. In Alchemy, you can make cards out of thin air and just put them in your hand. You can do all kinds of wacky stuff in Alchemy. It's been a controversial format, to say the least. Historic is all of the cards on Arena. Arena's been around for like 5 years, so it's like 5 years of standard. Plus, they've been injecting iconic old cards from before Arena existed, using historic anthologies and Jumpstart and a bunch of products that give you older cards. So this is all the cards on Arena with a short ban list. Explorer is like historic, except only standard. So it's, like it says here, standard from 2012 on. Historic's just all the cards on Arena. And then you can play against robots. These are the constructed formats. You can also play... where's Limited? Is this... Oh, there's also Brawl. That's like Commander, but only on Arena. It was cool when it came out. Not many people play it now. Limited. Okay, so Limited is event only, but there's always events going on for whatever format is out. So there is a Cube Draft going on right now. Cube's really fun. Cube is, there's a set of cards, and there's one of each of the cards in the set. You break that set of cards into packs, and then you draft that. So this cube, you can see the card pool. These are all the cards that are in the cube. Cube's a fun format when you're very familiar with Magic. You get to play with the cool cards in a limited way. So there's like a ton of rares, which is not normal in Limited, because in normal Limited, you just get packs of normal cards. There's one rare per pack. But in Cube, you can have a pack of all rares, because it's Cube. Cubes are fun. If you guys want, maybe we'll do some Cube streams sometime. But within Draft, there's Quick Draft and Traditional Draft. Quick Draft is with a robot. You draft against robots. So you pay some amount of real currency or fake currency, and you draft a pack. Or you draft 3 packs. So the way this works is everybody at the table opens a pack. They take one card out of that pack, and they pass the rest of the cards in that pack to their right. And you do that until all 15 cards out of that pack have been given to somebody. You open the next pack, and you pass to the left this time. And then third go round, you pass to the right again. So now you have 45 cards from a bunch of different packs that you pulled one at a time. And hopefully you had a strategy. And you're going to build a 40-card deck and then you're going to play against people. Arena has bot drafts, so you don't have to wait for other people, and it has traditional drafts where you're actually drafting with other people. Nope, that's alchemy. Traditional Premier Draft is also, this is with real people. It's a player draft, so it's timed. I have draft tokens because I use the battle pass. These are just free drafts. That's the formats on Arena. I did it. There's like lots of bits and bobs to play with. The deck builder is actually really cool. So they give you some starter decks just for playing. If we go to the store, there's actually Arena codes. You should just Google Arena codes. Pretty much every set that has ever come out has had a code. I don't think I've done Play DMU. And you just get 3 packs of that set for free. So those 3 packs that I opened, I just got back. Take your free packs. The deck builder is excellent. You get these starter decks just for playing. And then you can make decks. So they'll show you your whole collection. You can search by keyword. So I could search for, I don't know, Angel. And this will come up with cards that have Angel in the title, in the type line, or in the rules text. So this guy makes Angels. He's on the list. This makes Angels. This is an Angel. This has Angel in the name and is an Angel. Cool. You can sort by color. Maybe I only want blue Angels. Maybe I want blue or black Angels. This kills things that aren't Angels. Angel in the rules text. There's also a very complicated, fancy filtering system. Filter on all kinds of things. Only cards that I have collected or have not collected, but have 4 of. And they're sorceries from Kamigawa and are blue or black. There. Cool, right? It's a cool deck builder. That's Arena. Let's just chat now. That was the basics of Magic. You can see I made some quest progress in that weird. Never mind. That was the basics of Magic. Thank you so much for joining me. On Wednesday, please don't miss it. We're going to be doing our sealed, which is you get 6 packs and you just get all the cards in the pack event. This is like a pre-release for the Brothers War. It's going to be sick. You are not going to want to miss it. We also have a box opening. A short should be coming out for that soon. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to come up with a tagline for the show. I wish sick top decks for you and some great games with your friends. Have a good one. Bye.